Welcome, this is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be, we're going to be giving another country an empire. Now, normally, the empire series goes like this. I pick a country, I give them an empire, I check them off the list with the map I have, and then I go on to the next country. I normally do them bigger power countries, but today I thought to mix it up. Sorry, Indonesia, I know I promised the Indonesia empire video, but More will come. I just thought this would be a really fun idea. We're going to spin this wheel, and whatever country it lands on, well, you know what country it's going to land on because of the video title, but whatever country it lands on, we're going to be giving that country an empire. Hopefully this wheel does not have territories. Territories are not countries. I will not be giving them empires. So let's spin the wheel. And today's empire video is going to be hopefully not one we've already done. Okay, well, I mean, that to be fair, it's like 49 chances for it to land on a country we've already done. Luxembourg! Right, let me get the map up then. Oh, for God's sake. Change the plan, I might actually redo this. I have technically done Luxembourg in the what if microstates formed an empire, so I never thought that it'd be a lot of the same, so I think I'm going to take the microstates empire and actually chuck those empire videos into the empire series. I might actually do that. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. Spin the wheel again. Sorry, I really should have thought that. Liberia! So yes, the wheel has spoken. We're going to be giving Liberia an empire. I don't think I'd ever got to this country, to be quite honest. I want to do every country in the world, but honestly, I don't know if I really will be able to do that. This is why I want to do this, because there might be some countries that might never get an empire video, and who probably, there are definitely some countries on left that should get an empire before Liberia, but if you guys enjoy the spin the wheel thing, and having that select the country, I'll do it again. Hopefully it doesn't select Luxembourg, but Liberia, one of the two, maybe 3 American colonies that is independent. I'm pretty sure Liberia was owned by America. They're a pretty weak country, and when you look at their neighbours, it doesn't help the fact that, Nigeria's over here, you have Morocco and Algeria. Hell, even Mali is strong compared to Liberia. So we're going to have to buff Liberia for them to form an empire. So, to be fair, their first target is going to be somebody who, I probably haven't mentioned, ever, except for maybe, the Alternative Future of the World series. Sierra Leone is Liberia's first target. Sierra Leone is extremely weak. I'm sorry if you live here. I know what the country's like. It is not fun there. I like how the capital's called Freetown, and I've seen people make jokes, it's not that free. But Liberia will invade into Sierra Leone. They will mainly focus on the coast, because that is Sierra Leone's main area. And they will completely take over the coast, and then we'll take the city of Freetown. And with this, Sierra Leone is going to capitulate. They completely collapse. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, Liberia will be fully annexing Sierra Leone. They kind of have to do this to get stronger. But now they're kind of at a bit of a thing here. They only border 2 countries. Yes, they're not strong. Sorry if you are living here. I'm sorry, the Gold Coast is not a strong area, minus Nigeria, which is a powerhouse in this area. I mean, you compare Nigeria to, Asia and Europe and North America, it's kind of a mid-tier country, but for Africa, Nigeria is a really powerful country, an influential country. So where is Liberia going to expand? Well, see, if they take Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire, they will only get access to Burkina Faso and Ghana. Ghana's a, pretty alright country, and Burkina Faso isn't. I think Burkina Faso is, the poor, such a bad... I'm sorry, Burkina Faso is such a sad... they're not in a good spot. Like, Burkina Faso is landlocked, and it doesn't help. Like, that doesn't help them. So Liberia is going to be invading Guinea next, and mostly because Guinea gives way for Guinea-Bissau and Senegal and Gambia. So let's take a look at this conflict. So, isn't Guinea one of those countries with a really dumb capital name? No, that's the Ivory Coast. I think Guinea... Oh, I don't actually know. So troops will immediately move out to take over the coastline, and this is exactly what they do. Guinea's definitely a lot stronger than Sierra Leone, but they're still going to get slapped around this war. Liberia will push up to the coast to this area and will encircle a good amount of Guinea troops. But here, before that, we see them invade up here. I believe at this point they're taking the capital, and this rate, Guinea will surrender. Let's take a look at the peace treaty. And yet again, another full annexation of a country. Look, with a country like Liberia, they kind of have to fully annex these countries because they have to get the population and resources. But anyway, the next target of good old Liberia, or the Liberian Empire, that's not Guinea-Bissau. Now at this point, countries around, like, the Gold Coast and, like, Nigeria and Mali, they're kind of starting to be like, okay, yeah, this is definitely worrying, because we have a country that's expanding and kind of getting away with it. If a country like Nigeria were to expand, a lot of countries would be really, really scared, but, like, who's gonna be scared about, who's gonna be scared about Liberia? Obviously, they've been annexing a lot of land, so they definitely are a stronger country, but they're still... Even if I was to buff them, I'm sorry, but they would still get absolutely steamrolled by, like, anyone. Like, even Libya would probably still have a good chance against them. Anyway, Guinea-Bissau is fully annexed, and at this point, some countries are going to start forming alliances, because, well, they want to start the expansion of Liberia. Most importantly, we see an alliance between... We see an alliance between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger break out. So these countries all come together and form an alliance. In real life, these guys are kind of like already an alliance. I mean that, you know, there was I remember like last year, maybe sometime this year, like there was rumors that they were going to go to war with Nigeria and the Gold Coast. They didn't, I think, at least. Anyway, Senegal and Gambia. Yep, you're next on the chopping block. Now, at this point, I I still really don't think anybody cares about this. Yes, there are countries who form alliances, but Mali is like, these guys are worried about their I just don't think many countries would care about expanding Liberia. It's not like a threat to them. Anyway, we see that this is actually going to be probably the biggest challenge for Liberia yet, as they actually get pushed back by Senegal a little bit. Not before they, well, push back and begin to plan the invasion of Dakar, because they go through good old Gambia. And here we see them focusing on the coast, and they encircle the capital of Dakar. They do not capture, however, because Senegal's actually holding out pretty well there. But eventually they will capture, and from here Senegal will begin to capitulate. Eventually Senegal will surrender. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. Yet again, full annexation. Now at this point, Liberia is a ethnic mess. I'm pretty sure, like, they are a mess of ethnic groups. So the country may be on fire right now, but, you know, we're going to ignore that. We're just going to say that they're stable. So, what's the next target? Well, Cape Verde. You know, you know how that would go. They take over Cape Verde for, like, a naval base, I guess. So, I don't know why, who they're going to be invading with a naval force. But with that, they've invaded kind of all the countries they wanted to. And here we see the Liberian Empire go on a bit of a... Well, they'd stop. All this expansion they've done in about, like, 2 years. So let's say they stop for, like, another 2 years and don't do anything. That's all fun and games until they decide to break that neutrality and invade the Ivory Coast. Now, at this point, Ghana's like, okay, we ain't risking it. We are joining this alliance. Ghana will join the alliance between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which is definitely gonna be putting a bump in the road for Liberia, because, they probably actually have plans to invade that. However, it's time for them to invade the Ivory Coast, and let me just say, this is probably going to be their toughest challenge yet. Troops will move in, and their main focus is taking over the coast, but we actually see them fail. The Ivory Coast is able to hold off, because their capital is, I think their capital's here. Either that, they have a major city, because I feel like they have a major city there. Other than that, though, we can see that Liberia is pushing into this area, and they are pushing towards the capital or the major city, and they are able to capture it. But as for the coast, they are being unsuccessful until they split the country in half. With this, civilians and troops on this area are being fled into Burkina Faso, Ghana, or Mali, and Liberia's like, hold on a minute, why are you allowing them in your country? And Mali's like, because you're invading them, why wouldn't we? And Liberia's like, okay, with this side, the Ivory Coast will collapse, and let's take a look at peace treaty. And once again, full annexation. At this point, Liberia's done for the annexing countries. They need to stop. But we can see here that this is basically the Gold Coast, and it's actually a pretty strong country, to be quite fair with you. What is this? What? Okay. So where do they go from here? You have two options. Fight this alliance, or fight Mauritania. What's your choice? Well, they're going to go up here to Morocco. And be like, hey, do you want to get some revenge on Mauritania? And Morocco is like, yes. This is mostly because they want to actually have official claim over Western Sahara. I recognise it's Moroccan. I know some people recognise it independent. I don't know. It's a mess. So, troops from Liberia will move into Mauritania, mostly focusing on capturing the coast. At this point, Liberia is like double the strength from Mauritania. They are way stronger now. So the main goal is to take over the entire coastline of Mauritania, which is actually going pretty well. And Morocco, well, Western Sahara breaks away from them. Yeah, that's probably how I should explain it. They break away, but they quickly fall. With the fall of Western Sahara, we see Morocco linking up with good old Liberia, and they get a strong grip over the coastline area, and they push into what lands remain. And at this point, Mauritania's like, okay, we're out. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. So, taking a look at the peace treaty, we can see that Mauritania is destroyed in this peace treaty, and we can see that Liberia will gain a good chunk of land, and they get some resourceful land, and Morocco is officially going to annex Western Sahara, so anybody who recognises it can no longer fully recognise it, because, well, it's Moroccan. They also take a good chunk out of Mauritania, and the rest of Mauritania is puppeted. So then, where do you go now? Well, there's Morocco, but that would be suicide. I'm not joking. Why would you attack Morocco? You have good terms with them, and you probably would get absolutely stomped in a war. And then there's this alliance. Yep, it's time for Liberia to roll the dice. At this point, Liberia is stronger than all these countries if they were put alone. Together, they might still be weaker. Now, Liberia did actually try to get the help of Nigeria, who literally said, nope. Nigeria is, they don't feel threatened by this at all. Liberia is probably a top 30 country now, maybe 40. Nigeria isn't threatened, no, they don't care. So let's take a look at how, well, Liberia is going to massacre these countries. Some troops that are left over in the Ivory Coast from the invasion of it are going to exit out and have the mission to capture Accra, which they are immediately going to start doing. And, well, troops that are stationed in Mauritania will blitz out and immediately push down towards Morocco, which they fail to capture. But it's not only from there, they also push out from here. Yeah, this was a very well out planned invasion. This was a very thought out invasion. I mean, it was probably 6 months after the invasion of Morocco. This has been planned for a while, so yeah, you can tell this was planned. We have a goal being set by the Liberian troops to connect up with each other, which they exactly start doing that. And, well, it fails, but it's definitely picking up pace. We also see Liberia begin to invade out from here a little bit, which I don't know why they're doing that. But at this point, Mali's pushing back. Again, these countries aren't strong, but they're definitely capable of pushing back, maybe. We can see that Ghana especially is going to be able to push back this area, because these are just some reservist troops that were guarding. But when Liberia sees that the invasion in Ghana's failing, they send a couple more 1,000 or 10,000, 10,000 troops. And, well, the plan is to eliminate Ghana and Mali immediately. Those are the big ambitions of this war. Take out Mali, the leader. Take out Ghana, the strongest country, I believe. And, well, oh yeah, that's not good. Bamako's just been taken. And at this point, this area of Mali, which I've actually learned is a rebellious area, yep, they just rebelled. With this, Mali is going to absolutely capitulate under their own weight. And Niger is like, nope, I'm out of this war. Niger leaves the war as soon as Mali collapses. What a coward. They leave the war as soon as the leader collapses. That is a France move right there. More like an Italy move. They switched sides when they knew World War II was going to end with the Allied victory. At this point, Ghana's going to keep fighting until the last breath. But once Ghana's capitulated, Burkina Faso's like, okay, yeah, we surrender. That was a fun war. Liberia absolutely destroyed that war. So let's take a look at the peace treaty. So, taking a look at this peace treaty, we can see that, yep. So, where do we begin? Ghana is fully annexed. I was actually going to let them live, but I decided not to. Burkina Faso has a little chunk taken out of them. They also take basically the entire southern area of Mali, which is huge for the economy of Liberia. Mauritania gains a bit of land. They look unrecognisable now, and Azawad, I believe is the name of this area, is given autonomy. It's not a puppet, but it's given autonomy, so it's kind of it's kind of like Scotland and Wales or the UK. It functions as its own country, but it's under the control of Liberia, whereas Mauritania is a full-on puppet. They are, like, basically Belarus. They are completely controlled. Their government is put in favour of Liberia, but if there is that part of the peace treaty is, if Azawad ever wants to be independent, they can hold a referendum to become independent. There was nothing against them becoming independent, but honestly, I think the people of Azawad are probably actually pretty happy with this. And we can see here that this is basically just the Gold Coast. Now, is Liberia done with their empire? Well, yes, they are completely finished. They've achieved all the goals they wanted. They've taken out all the strong neighbours around them. They've got good relations with Morocco, so they're kind of defended. I could very possibly see in the future of this world that Morocco and Liberia become allies, because, again, they're very close relations. I guess if Liberia wanted to continue expanding, they could take Togo and Benin. That probably wouldn't sell well with Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria's already kind of feeling a bit threatened by this. But anyway, that's going to do it for the country spin the wheel random pick for an empire. That's Liberia. I never thought I'd get to do Liberia, but again, just spin the wheel. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, when I upload this video, sorry, I always do this. When I upload this video, I believe we are 1 subscriber away from 300. I have something coming out for 300 subscribers. You'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next one. Bye. Oh.